She checks her phone for the 5th time in 10 minutes. Nothing, no reply. The silence is louder than any words you could have sent. And here's the paradox that burns most men alive. The less you chase, the more she obsesses. The moment you become predictable, you vanish from her imagination. Introduction. This is not a game. This is not about tricks. This is about psychology, dark psychology. Attraction doesn't live in comfort. It doesn't grow in certainty. It doesn't thrive when she has you on call like an employee. Attraction breathes in uncertainty. In that gap between wanting and having. Between what she sees and what she can't quite hold. And today we're going to decode the 6 dark switches that flip her desire from mild interest into obsession. Switch 1. Scarcity is value. Scarcity is powerful because it signals value. Not because you play games, not because you fake busyness, but because you have a life that matters more than chasing approval. The man with mission, structure, and focus doesn't need to perform scarcity. His life is scarce. His time is rare. His attention is not given cheaply. Every time you drop everything for her text, you announce you have nothing more important than her. Every time you clear your schedule in seconds, you declare your life is empty. But the man who says, Thursday evening works for me. If not, no problem, another time. That man creates scarcity without pretending. That man signals value without speaking it. Switch 2. The tension arc. Attraction is not a straight line. It's a heartbeat, peaks and valleys, highs and lows. Give her all warmth, all access, all attention, and the pulse flatlines. Instead, attraction needs rhythm, moments of connection, then space, warmth, then distance, presence, then absence, not because you're cold, not because you're cruel, but because you're human. Sometimes you reply immediately. Sometimes you're busy and she waits. Sometimes you initiate. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're warm. Sometimes you're focused elsewhere. This rhythm isn't manipulation. It's reality for a man with a full life. And it is in that rhythm, where she can't fully predict you, that her imagination catches fire. Switch 3. Tests as signal scans. When she pulls back, when she delays, when she cancels, most men panic. They double text, they beg, they scramble for reassurance. But here's the truth. Tests are not drama. They are signal scans. They are probes into your stability. She cancels last minute. Do you collapse into neediness, or do you calmly carry on with your evening? She pulls back emotionally. Do you lunge forward desperately, or do you let the silence sit without chasing? She creates storms. Do you join the chaos, or do you remain the calm center? The men who fail crumble under the test. The men who pass barely notice the storm. And women know this truth at a level deeper than words. If a man can't remain stable under her moods, how will he remain stable under life's pressure? Switch 4. The abundant state. Scarcity creates desperation. Abundance creates confidence. When she's the only option, every text feels like life or death. Every silence feels like rejection. Every date feels like a verdict. But when you live in abundance, when you have options, purpose, brotherhood, mission, her silence doesn't feel like a knife. It feels like noise. You don't panic when she delays. You don't beg when she withdraws. You don't overcompensate when she tests, because you know something most men don't. If she walks, others won't. If she rejects, others accept. If she vanishes, your life remains full. Abundance changes your tempo. And tempo changes everything. Switch 5. Boundaries create meaning. Boundaries are not walls. They're filters. The man without boundaries is not kind, he is desperate. He says yes to everything, accepts every excuse, tolerates every disrespect, and each time he does, his value collapses. But the man with standards? The man who calmly says, no rescheduling twice. No midnight invitations from strangers. No arguing past respect. That man doesn't push her away. He pulls her in. Because boundaries create meaning. They signal, my time is valuable, my energy is selective, my presence is earned, and the harder something is to earn, the more it is cherished. Switch 6. Communication as a scalpel. Your phone is not a lifeline. It's a tool, but most men swing it like a hammer. Paragraphs, essays, hour-long calls, endless explanations. What they don't realize is this. Every word you give away too soon removes a reason to meet in person. Every story revealed over text is one less discovery left for reality. The man who communicates sparingly but precisely, He stays in her imagination. The man who says less means more. The man who uses words as a scalpel, not a flood, creates mystery. Wednesday 7, Oak & Co. Yes, that works. Locked. See you then. Clear, direct, no overselling. Mystery isn't about lying. It's about being selective with truth, needy versus centered. Case A. He replies instantly. He writes essays. He asks where he stands. She loses tension. She loses curiosity. Desire dies. Case B. He invites clearly. He doesn't chase after cancellations. He never begs for clarity. She wonders. She questions. She pursues. Why? Because he remained centered. Because he let uncertainty breathe. Because he understood. Tension is the fire of desire. The dark paradox. Here's the paradox most men can't swallow. The less you need her, the more she needs you. But it only works when the less comes from wholeness. If you detach because you're empty, she feels cold. If you detach because you're full, she feels magnetized. Detachment born of need is repulsion. Detachment born of purpose is attraction. The man who remains calm in her storms becomes the anchor she craves. The man who maintains frame under pressure becomes the leader she trusts. The man who doesn't need her approval becomes the prize she fights to win. The 7-day reset. You want to live this, not perform it. Here's your 7-day reset. Day 1, calendar lock. Mission first. Romance fits around it. Day 2, text discipline. Reply 2 or 3 times a day, never instantly. Day 3, write your boundaries. 3 red lines you will never cross. Day 4, social proof. Meet friends, network, build community. Day 5, body and sleep. Regulate your physiology to regulate your emotions. Day 6, build options. New people, new paths, new opportunities. Day 7, audit yourself. Where did you act from fear? Where did you chase? Correct it. Repeat weekly until it's no longer effort. Until it's who you are. Women aren't addicted to men. They're addicted to the feelings men create. And the strongest feeling of all isn't constant attention. It's uncertainty wrapped in stability. Mystery framed by confidence. Scarcity born of purpose. Don't try to act like a challenge. Become a challenge. Build a life so valuable that access feels like privilege. Create boundaries so clear that presence feels earned. Live with such abundance that one woman's approval never defines your worth. That's not a game. That's not manipulation. That's dark psychology lived honestly. And here's the paradox she'll never admit out loud. The man she fights hardest to win is the man who never needed winning in the first place. If this exposed patterns you've been blind to, share it with a man who needs to hear it. If it gave you clarity, hit like and subscribe. Because the next lesson is even darker. The 3 texts that kill attraction instantly, and the 2 that multiply it. Turn on notifications. Because once you understand this game, you stop chasing women, and women start chasing you.